You're gay, Gray. But hello. Sorry, I was listing my Zelda Wii U on Facebook Marketplace to see if I can get somebody to trade me a Switch 2 for it. uh, Zelda Wii. I mean, I probably won't work, but it doesn't hurt to try, you know? Okay, yeah, I do have all of those. I just gotta find all of the cords. Yes, the Zelda Wii U. It's about a $250. Yeah, the Wind Waker one. And I've got the Wind Waker game for it. So I've got that on there too. It's the black and gold one. The gamepad alone is 150, but with everything with it, people are doing 250. And the Switch 2, hell yeah, is like 450. So I'm like, I can add on like Pokemon cards that have resale value or something. And then the game itself is like $50. So that's like $300 right there, resale wise. So maybe someone will take it for just the Switch 2. I don't know. Okay, let me. I gotta move me around. Hi. Okay. And then we need. Ba, 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 ba. To pull up the videos that were suggested. I think B sent the Trogdor video. I am like 90% sure that's the Trogdor video.
Here I go once again with the email. Every week I hope that it's from a female. Oh man, not from a female. Hey Strongbad, can you draw a dragon? I want to see your skills of an artist. Okay. Well, G2G, guys are from California. A dragon? That's easy. feel free to follow along with my simple step-by-step instructions. I make drawing fun. To begin, draw an S for snake, or dragon, or whatever. Next, we'll draw a more different S. For the head, put a top mark on a long V. Then you add some legs, draw on a couple of arms, and... Whoa, wait a minute. I think I need to start over.
Trogdor.
Doesn't look natural. Okay, starting again, the same way. S, more different S. Close it up real good at the top for his head, and then, using consummate V's, give him teeth, spinities, and angry eyebrows. And you can add smoke or fire.
This is what B
maybe some
suggested.
Wings. You know, if he's a wingaling dragon. Let's put one of those beefy arms back on him for good measure. That looks really good. Coming out of the back of his neck there. Now he needs a name. How about
Trogdor.
Trogdor the Burninator? Oh yeah. Check out all his majesty. There's my dragon, Kaiser. Let's see how the other students are doing. All right. What do you got for me, Coach Z?
Take a look there. I think she's looking pretty good.
I said consummate, V's. Consummate! Jeez. Guy wouldn't know majesty if it came up and bit him in the face.
It happened once.
Strong man. You just keep doing your thing, man.
Mm-hmm.
Get out of my house.
I do what I'm told.
Oh, crap. I didn't know you were doing one.
Oh, sure. I think I've improved on your methods a bit, too. I employed some chiaroscuro shading and...
I'll improve on your methods.
What? That's not an improvement.
Trogdor strikes again. Trogdor! Trogdor! Trogdor was a man. I mean, he was a dragon man. Maybe he was just a dragon. But he was still Trogdor! Trogdor! Burninating the countryside, burninating the peasants, burninating all the people in the thatched roof cottages! Thatched roof cottages! And the Trogdor comes in the night!
Uh-huh. I knew it. I knew it was the Trogdor video. Put a top mark on a long V. Want to express draw a triangle. It says 20 years of Burninator. 16 years ago. Bro, what are you on? The 8th grade social studies teacher make the whole class watch it. He was popping up on whiteboards. Oh my god, that's great. What is... It's just titled Weapons.
Weapons. Weapons. Am I good with a weapon? Yes.
Hey, Markin.
Am I carrying weapons on me? Always. Pistols at sunset. The bullets don't reach that far. Aha, check out this weapon I just made. Stay still. Predator missiles. They're working in league with the torpedoes. Tactical airstrike. Why? What's air supposed to do? All this and more on this episode of In the Battlefield. Get it? Sorry if I sound weird. It's because I went to the Asian supermarket today.
Yeah?
Because we bought some AstroTurf.
Fake grass.
Yeah, I didn't want to take care of it, so we AstroTurfed some of the backyard, right?
Mhm.
It looks like shit. Anyway, the neighbor's cat has started shitting on the AstroTurf. What am I gonna? I can't just kill the neighbor's cat. I don't think I can get away with that. I didn't want to get into it with the neighbors either. Excuse me, do you know you've got a cat and it shits on like?
You can't police a cat in the same way that you can a dog.
That's right.
Cats are a law unto themselves.
So I went to the Chinese supermarket, right? Because obviously the thing to do is to buy about 3 liters of chili oil and then fill a weed sprayer with it and then just start spraying the whole garden in chili oil to the point where it just kind of turns red.
Chili oil!
And then it starts trying to take a shit and then it goes, oh god.
It turns the grass red, or it turns the shit red, and you're hoping that this is gonna like scare the cat. So something's going wrong here.
I need to talk to a doctor. So, you know, the grass is looking a lot redder than it usually does.
Wait, this is the AstroTurf. So
Yeah.
you've essentially just dyed fake grass red.
Yeah, pretty much. And, you know, the whole place reeks of chili oil.
Oh
The
no.
cat shits there anyway. Then, boy, is he going to have won this war.
Could you not have just let the shitting continue and
No, it's an outrageous amount of shit. He's taking like 3 shits a day. Like, he doesn't even keep it to the sort of back of the property where you wouldn't notice it. It's like right on the front. That's the first thing a guest would see. And then
Bro.
we've got a cat. And so people think, oh, you guys are just fucking dirty. Why don't you clean up after yourself? No, you don't yeah, so anyway, that's the reason I went to the Asian supermarket, and while I was there was some sour candy.
Ooh.
That's the full story of why I'm eating sour candy.
Gay bomb.
So you've seen the gay bomb, right?
I've heard of it. I'm fascinated.
No,
by it,
what?
Naturally, because it was theoretical, right?
Yes.
I love that Simon Fisher has put a rainbow.
I think
gay
the
bomb.
chief idea behind it was, okay, you make your enemy uninhibited and extremely aroused, and then
What?
they are more likely in a non-combat situation to start doing it with each other. It wouldn't work in a fight. No one's
What?
gonna go, oh, I'm just too horny to fight, and they just start running at their own men in the other direction. But maybe it's a permanent change. You've got your wife back home and your kids. What if you come home gay? Sorry, honey, I gotta be my true self now.
This might really backfire because it might make the opposing army like even more bonded with one another. Because now they're just like, I gotta save my
Yes.
dude because like he's great. I love him. I'm just thinking now there's like super elite gay army.
It's just you and me, skin on skin, stripped to the waist.
That are just so loyal to one another that they are unstoppable.
Just like rolling in rainbow camouflage. Everybody's just like super afraid of them.
What about guns? Have you ever fired a gun?
Yeah, only a rifle. Yeah, I thought it was pretty neat.
When I was in America, I made a beeline for the gun range.
Yeah?
Went full hog. I wanted to see what it was like. And yeah, it
Yeah.
turns out, yeah, it really made me feel like a man.
People do say that though, you know, a bit dismissively, but there must be something absolutely instinctual about holding a weapon. You'll sort of notice it if you ever go for a hike and you pick up a stick that just feels really well weighted to hold and you could use it like a weapon. I do find myself like naturally carrying that around and just sort of feeling good about it.
Yeah, it's the ultimate tool.
Yeah, I bet there's something about that. In the past, the ones that pick up a pretty good stick and just walk around with it survive a lot more.
Absolutely.
They're so loud though.
Oh, God.
I can't stand how loud they are. Oh, silencers are banned in most states, I think. And it seems to me like the reason that legislation has come into place is because everybody watches the movies and thinks that a gun with a silencer on it sounds like...
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's in Hitman, but it's actually just there so you don't go fucking deaf.
Yeah.
Still really loud. I suppose you wouldn't be able to recognize that sound so regularly.
No. Can you silence a shotgun? Oh, you can. Actually, adds a degree of style to it. The silencer is a bit like adding a mustache to a gun.
Yeah, it does make it look a lot cooler. You got to
Thank
admit that much. Like,
Oh,
that
definitely.
lame.
Oh.
Hey, that's like immediately cool. Dun, dun, dun. Like, I even think he becomes more handsome
Yeah, look.
between shots, you
Ooh.
know?
Play it again. I'm going to close my eyes and just welcome to America's
Ow.
favorite game show. Silenced or unsilenced? All right. Well, I was definitely silenced. Ooh, it's
Hi,
not
Rose.
no, but I couldn't really tell.
Okay, how about this one?
Oh,
That is definitely not silenced.
Thank
That
you.
is full hog.
Interesting.
Silenced.
Okay, all 4 of those were silenced.
Ah, you tricked me.
I did.
You correctly guessed that it was
There is a
behind the
rose.
pillow.
That's a bloody good one, isn't it? Because that
Lizard.
wouldn't silence anything. I mean, it might make it quieter for the person who's getting shot. Why the hell else would that work?
I'm just going to put the pillow on so it doesn't hurt your ears.
Thank you. Pillow silencer.
120.7.
I like the idea that off screen it's just like someone
wait,
tied
I
to
think
a
the
chair.
angle.
So now we'll use the pillow.
You guys just see me moving my head like aggressively
Tie it up.
Yeah.
to be working. Aw, that sucks.
Oh, yeah.
But it only went up to 102 decibels. 120.7.
CNN goes fully Samuel.
This is the AR-15.
Right. A lot of people will buy this
Oh God.
because it's cool.
Why else would you buy a gun?
Is it illegal to look cool now? Is that what they're saying?
I'm sorry, I really dislike the sort of moralistic tone there of just like, some people just buy this gun to be cool. Yeah, of course.
Isn't that the reason for half the things we do? You buy a slightly nicer car, or you cut your hair a certain way.
Did you just get that haircut to look cool? Yeah, man. Fuck off.
The defining characteristic of the AR-15 is the speed and power of the bullet.
That whole defining feature of a bullet is that they go fast. and are
16%.
powerful.
Yeah, well, there's
Jesus,
no good
Rose,
if it
what the
bounces
fuck?
right off you. I do like, who fired this bullet?
Yeah.
Like, what the hell happened here?
That looks like a classic, like GoldenEye N64 bullet hole as well. It's classic.
You fire too many and these ones start disappearing.
The-
Ordinary
The
things.
AR-15 having
Guns from
speed and
people
everything and
also don't know
everything
much about
is
guns,
like
but
exactly
you know,
why we
do you
shouldn't
know
be able
the
to have
differences between automatic,
people buy those.
semi-automatic, pump action.
Pump action is the one where you've got to sort of like jerk the gun off before it'll fire again. Semi-automatic's more like do-do, do-do, do-do.
Yeah, one.
I don't think
triple,
that sound
one
was
bullet.
needed.
Automatic is like do-do-do-do-do-do.
Yeah, you hold it down and it goes all over the place.
If I wanted to fire this on full semi-automatic, all I do is keep firing. Now, I won't probably...
What does that mean?
Yeah.
Quick translate that.
How do they both look like Tim Cook?
I don't like
They
things
look like
that
Tim
go
Cook and
boom.
Mike Pence
I
at
hate
base.
guns.
That's sweet. I don't like the way I can see the outline of his nipples through his shirt. I kind of feel like for the news, just wear like I don't.
What the
You find it
fucking?
erotic? Can you not focus?
Yeah.
Well, I find distracting
Of
stuff
all
I've
things to
seen
notice, it
one
was.
another.
Yeah, what's up with
What the
that?
fuck?
It's a weapon designed to inflict maximum damage.
It's a weapon.
It's a gun.
Add. Not enough people are using Nord.
Yeah.
So much of their private data is.
It is a gun that normal civilians should not be able to purchase whatsoever, not even for hunting. There is absolutely no fucking reason why anybody should have easy access to guns like that.
Add.
When I was a kid, there was this brand of sour candy called Toxic Waste. Do you get that in Australia?
Oh yes, yeah.
Came in the little tub. I loved that stuff.
Oh man, I've been addicted to sour candy since I can remember. And of course, you know, the more that you're told that you're not allowed something, the more alluring it becomes. I was about 5
Sour.
cents. I'd sneak some change from the kitchen counter. I would take a bit of a side route on the way home and go to the old It was 5 cents a piece. And I would
Thanks.
go in there and I'd buy like $1's worth. I'd scoff it all down on the way home. One day, I got like $5 worth of coins. That gave you like 50 pieces. And 50 pieces because there's way too many to finish by the time you get home. So I had like half a bag full. I'm gonna have to hide this somehow. I'll just hide it under my shirt. And I walked into the house thinking no one's gonna be the wiser. And my sister, the first thing she saw, she's like, "What's under your shirt?" I'm like, "Oh, nothing." And I go running to my room. And maybe it was my mom and my dad, I don't know, they come running after. They go, "What is that? What do you got? What do you got?" I then like ran out, and then I just ran to the neighbors. It was like being caught with drugs. And I knew this neighbor kid, and I was like, "You gotta take this, you gotta take this." And he takes it and he hides it under the cushions and the couch in the lounge. And then I walk out the door of the neighbor's place. Nothing. It wasn't anything.
Still sweating from the sour candy as well.
God.
When I was a kid, my contraband was violent horror movies and such.
Oh, no.
And I remember one time my dad drove me to a sleepover, and I wanted to bring some horror movies that I had squirreled away in my room.
This is great. Your mum's cleaning your room and she like looks under your bed, and instead of like porno mags, there's just Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, in
and...
fact, that did eventually happen. And I got given a stern talking to.
All right, ordinary things. Let me tell you all about the birds and bees.
Oh, gee, Pa. Oh, shucks. I don't know nothing about all that business.
Then you take her boyfriend's face and you put it on your face, and that's when you run into the room.
Possibly inspired by watching Midnight Express, I like got the DVDs and like taped them to my torso under my t-shirt, and I was just sat next to my dad on the drive there.
So did you
Hold
get
on.
caught?
No, I didn't. But
Oh, what? Isn't there a big...
1 second. Somebody is actually messaging me about the Wii U. Hold on. Okay. I do have a bunch of like Hover Hunts with the full auto. It's freaking Jesus Christ, thanks. Exactly, Gray. I have a Game Boy Advance, a clear case one. Still in box. That one's a last resort trade because I really like having that one. But then I also have Link's Awakening in the original box. So actually, you know what? You guys get to go on eBay with me. Oh, yeah. I'm missing, I think that's a poster there. I do not have the poster, and I do not have this in there. But I do have this and this inside the thing. The ting. It is this one. Yeah, I have this one. That alone is $200, dude. Holy shit. The box sells for 150. Good God, man. He said he would trade his Switch 2 for everything, and I'm like, okay. Listen. I can't afford to buy a Switch 2, so I'm trying to see if maybe I can trade for a Switch 2. Yeah, only a week till the Ditto game. And this right here is also like $200. This guy wants all of that? Hell no. I know the worth of my consoles. I'm not being... See, is worth it in the sense that I would be able to continue playing Pokemon games because all new Pokemon games will now be on that console. So it's either I get my hands on that console and still be able to play new Pokemon games or not be able to play anything that comes out anymore. And I'm not very attached to the Zelda Wii U. I love Zelda, but my love for Zelda is not as strong as my love for Pokemon. So I am willing to give up the Zelda stuff, you know. Surgery, but what the fuck? Listen, if this guy is willing to trade a Switch 2 for the Wii U and the game, I might take it. Don't worry about it. What do you mean, don't worry about it? what, what do you mean, don't worry about it? Are you saying not to trade my stuff? You don't even know what they're talking. Why is everybody saying don't worry about it? What are you guys doing? What is going on here? No, it's just... Thanks, Gray. Thanks, Gray. Thanks, Mark. Everybody say don't worry. Mm. Yeah, I'm not trading with this person. It's like your stuff is cool, but very niche. They're like, I could sell my Switch 2 for 400, but you won't find buyers for your stuff at that price. I'm like, okay. Definitely would not be trading with them. It's not a problem. Don't sell your stuff. Okay. Okay. I have to work tomorrow, sadly. Tomorrow's an all-day work. I may stream Sunday if I play a game with friends and we want to stream it. But after today, my next stream day will probably be Monday. I go in 10:45, and we work till 9. So it's an all-day shift, sadly.
Square outline on your shirt.
I think I put like a jumper on as well. If I recall, actually, I remember my dad saying, like, aren't you warm in that? I think it was summer and already sweating. What if he catches me with Kill Bill Volume 2 under my shirt?
Dear. So did you watch the movie at the place?
So I don't think people were too impressed.
Right.
Do you want to watch this? Some guy gets his head cut off.
Oh,
Like, just wanna
that
talk
sounded
about
gross.
girls.
I am
just
so
having a
sorry,
time.
guys. What the fuck?
Oh, I was hoping I could ruin all your nights.
That was a disgusting burp.
People get a fake foot. They lose it in a...
Bar brawl of some kind.
Yeah, exactly. So they give you a fake foot. So what would you do if you could have, like, any
I'm
sort of
sorry,
fake
Gray.
foot become
It wasn't
a
on
weapon?
purpose.
What would the weapon be?
Well, how about it looks like a normal foot, but then I take it off and it's just like one big titanium spike.
Yeah.
You could like twist it off and replace it with other things like a snooker cue or one of those like grabbers.
Okay, so this isn't really a weapon. This is a multi-tool.
Yeah, I think so.
You
I
want
would-
like a Swiss Army foot.
Yeah, a multi-tool, multi-foot.
That would be quite good. You're caught in the wilderness or whatever, and then you've just got a whole. bunch of
We gotta
tools
leave
in there.
about
Oh, no problem. with me. So,
10:30.
I would probably have it would be a gun for sure.
This is
When
only
you're in the
a
woods, is it? See, well, I'm
10-minute
next to
drive
you right
there.
now. I've got my multi-tool and I've just like twisted my axe attachment on and I'm just like kicking wood. I'm kicking trees down.
Yeah, I'll shoot you, and then I'll take your multi-tool.
You won't have the twisty bit.
Yeah, you've got it like a key.
Exactly.
It'll click out of one.
That one of them is like a wheel powered by an engine that if I just balance on that one wheel, I can like go around like Rosie in the Jetsons.
Oh shit, that would be good. Like those wheelie shoes, but it's diesel.
Yeah. As someone who's completely normal and well adjusted, I have thought about if you were to kill someone, like what would be the best way to get away with it.
Yeah.
People could have these elaborate plans of kill him and I'll like burn the body in the bath. Nah. The best way is just to find them on the street, let off 2 rounds, and just walk away, hood up.
Yeah.
No fuss, no muss.
I think you're right.
Mm.
Right. Let's plan a murder.
Brilliant.
Because I don't understand how it's done in the modern day, and someone gets away with it.
Yeah.
Let's say I'm trying to kill you, right?
Cool. Yeah.
So first I have to find your address. I'd have to go to England. So now there's records of me searching your address. There's records of me being in the country. I then have to get to your place. I rent a car or I take an Uber. And then all along that route are cameras that are tracking the license plate of the car I'm in. And I've got a phone on me, and that's being constantly picked up on every cell tower.
Yeah, the first thing you want to do is leave your phone at home. If you're Ubering to your murder, I think
Let's say I Uber within 5 kilometers of your place,
Okay.
and then I just start walking to your place. The whole route is going to have cameras along it. I get to your place, and what do? I knock on the door.
I mean, he's not
and then you
wrong.
answer it, and then I have to go like bang. Everybody sees.
Look at this dude.
No, okay.
Nope.
That means I need to break into your place. What do you do from there? This is becoming so difficult.
I say you got to smash the window in and make it look like a robbery gone wrong.
Bang. On the way out, I steal the DVDs real quick and just put them in my shirt. Then I guess you just sort of take off running. It'll still be a robbery gone wrong, and so they'll still start tracking these cameras.
Yeah.
They'll just start following the line.
We got him.
I think you're putting
It
too
does
much
make
faith in
sense.
the CCTV
I don't know
system.
how
I think
people
it
get
is
away
quite
with like
powerful. They're not
murdering people
everywhere.
Right.
in this day and
My
age.
point is, it's impossible ordinary things. It cannot be done.
I just think, if aliens are real, that just completely changes the way everyone sees the world. It'd be amazing.
Maybe. What do you reckon the alien weapon would be?
Well, the anal probe is the classic. When combined with the gay bomb, it stops being a
that
weapon.
is not a weapon. It's a medical analytical tool.
That's a good point.
Do you reckon they clean the probe between analyzing humans?
Depends what the aliens are doing with the probing. Are they just measuring butthole circumference for their files?
Yeah, what could be done there? that wouldn't just be easily done with some sort of alien pill or an X-ray. I reckon they pull out that probe, go, this is fucking disgusting, and then they just shoot everyone out the airlock. They go, another one.
They're all gross.
This is gross every time.
I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. This is horrible.
You would think there would be just as much mouth probing as there would be.
Hopefully not with the same probe. If you were going into a medieval battle, what's your choice? You know, they're all on a wall. Which do you pick? Which way, Western man?
I've heard a scythe is pretty useless in battle.
A mace, though. I think a mace is good stuff.
Right.
Like, it can bludgeon.
Scythe is great in battle. Have they seen Soul Eater?
I don't particularly want any of these, to be honest.
That's picky. Wouldn't go with the scythe. Actually, not here for the battle. Just the
I love
battle.
chain scythes though. Soul Eater made a really big love of chain scythes for me.
Sword and shield. I mean, it's a classic for
Kusari
So you
Gamas.
and me,
I
wow.
fucking love Kusari Gamas.
So I've got the spear, you've got the shield and sword. Who do you reckon wins?
I reckon me.
Reckon?
I just got to bide my time and get you to stick the spear into the shield, and then I'm just cutting your spear in half, and you're done.
I don't think you're blocking anything with that shield.
Oh, you reckon?
Yeah, I think I'm poking at you, and you're moving your shield around, and then I managed to get just a little bit behind your shield at one point, and then I just press in.
You can't get my fingers, though. That's cheating. That's not fair.
Let's see, like, spear versus sword.
Spear versus sword. Brilliant.
We can put some money on it.
All right. Yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah, he's sticking him. He's gonna try and stick him good.
I fought mud crabs more fearsome than you.
I like the spin technique. Like, so you don't know when it's coming.
Oh yeah,
exactly.
the Neapolitan Lindor chocolates are finally back for Easter. I'm so happy right now.
He fucked up.
Got you to stop within spear distance.
Yes.
It's game over. Spear wins.
The
key is not to be spooked by the spear.
Yeah, don't fear the spear.
These are my
Like a
favorite.
motherfucker. He's half dressed like a bank robber and half dressed like a beekeeper.
Yeah, now that you've pointed that out, yeah. Give me all your bees. Where's the queen?
Fear the sting of Bee Man.
Just back on maces, what do you think of this?
Morning Star.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, that'd fuck you up pretty good.
You know what the problem is?
They're
with this
so
weapon?
good.
It's got so many points, and they're like, if you hit someone right in the head with it in the heat of battle, it is liable to get stuck, and then you're in the situation where you're like trying to pull it out of someone's head, and then someone puts something in your head.
That'd be a bummer to clean too. Like, this thing would not go in the dishwasher very well at all. What's the, like, really weak version of this? Like, you could have this ball, but instead of spikes, you've got those, like, fingernail
like-
Cheetos. That'd be pretty good.
I'm trying to think of like a Nerf version of the Morning Star.
It
I like the
has.
idea of this. If it was
I think
much,
it's
much
strawberry
smaller,
on the
and it was
outside.
half the size of a golf ball, and it had these tiny little prongs. It would
Yeah,
be
and then it's half
exceptional
white chocolate,
for
half
serving
chocolate in the
olives.
middle.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's true. I like that.
Right?
It should
You
say
could take one
crack.
of these, and then you just put like a dog too on it, and then you just chase people around the battlefield because no one wants to get the dog shit on them, you know?
That's true.
You'll be feared on the battlefield.
It's like when if you go to prison. Obviously, I'm not strong. I don't have the option of like going up to the biggest guy in there and punching them. That wouldn't go well.
No.
Your only other option is to just act like the craziest fucker possible. I have shit on a stick. Utterly unpredictable, terrifying human being.
If you spill, you know... Why is this funny to me? If you spill your apple juice over the front of your shirt, can you just pop back to your cell and throw on another shirt?
Surely.
Or you're like, oh, that's my only one, and then you have to walk around as the guy with apple juice down the front of your shirt.
They must have a wardrobe. They must have a place where they put their pants and socks and toothbrush shivs and all sorts. That's a weapon. The toothbrush.
I like
shiv.
zoned out slightly
It's got
from
like a little
what the fuck
Derringer
they're
pistol.
talking
Sergeant
about.
Hal Birchfield.
Oh, everyone had those mustaches back in the... When are they coming back?
I can't really grow a mustache very well, so I'd be a bit upset if that happened.
Really?
I have a mustache,
Let
but
me-
it's a bit of a Howard Hughes sort of like pencil mustaches.
Hold on a minute. Let me have a look at this. Oh, yeah.
See what I mean? I've got what I like to call the anti-Hitler. I can't grow it in the middle.
I don't know if this is racist.
Okay, continue.
Have you ever noticed how people from Eastern Europe
Suddenly
tend to
prison.
have that sort of facial hair? The same sort of facial hair that you do?
To be honest, I can't say I have noticed that, but I'm willing to go ahead with it.
Serbian man.
Oh,
These
fuck.
men have
Whew,
mustaches,
good stretch.
so I'm not sure your theory
Slavic
holds.
man. Yeah, no, it's all falling apart real quick.
I'm amazed that you've typed in Slavic man and none of them are squatting.
You know what? This theory sucks. These people all have regular moustaches. I don't know why you proposed it, to be honest.
Moustache.
It's kind of racial and it's not true. While we're on racist things, I've got one more.
Go on. Yeah,
God.
Please, continue.
Have you ever
While we're being
noticed
racist.
Asian people, when they park their car, always park their car backwards into the car space?
That I cannot say that I've spent enough time observing other people parking, let
Here's
alone
my experience, right? I live near a pretty Asian suburb. Right, I love it. I love going down there, shopping there all the time. Where you normally see people parking, they just, drive forward, straight in. But for some reason, every time the local residents here park, they reverse in. And I'm thinking, like, is it something they are culturally taught that has some sort of advantage? Okay, in an emergency, you can drive out faster. Is that what it's about? Is it like, oh, I wanna
Probably.
show off my car? Yeah, look at the front.
It
must be
depends
something
on, like,
interesting.
I'm going to go out on a limb.
It is
and
easier
say
to get out,
it's
yeah.
representative of a culture that forward plans.
Ordinary things, bigot confirmed. If you're done with your racist tirade, ordinary things, I'd like to move back onto the topic at hand.
I do have an Asian.
Just because you have an
weapon
Asian
story.
friend does not make you not racist.
Have you ever been to Cambodia?
No, I haven't.
When I was there back in the day, I got in their taxi and the guy was like, "Oh, you're new here?" And I was like, "Yeah, obviously." And then he said, "Do you want to go to the firing range?" And I was like, "Yes." You can use a machine gun. You can use some handguns. I was like, "That's sick." And then he went up a level and was just like, "If you got $200 American, you can even fire a rocket launcher at a cow."
No way.
What
You said
the
yes,
fuck?
right?
At a cow?
I'll admit that the option did intrigue me, but I was pretty broke back then, so and also it would have been a
Right.
bit gross, and maybe I would have felt a bit ashamed of myself. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I would not
didn't
be
use the
doing
rocket launcher,
that.
but I did hock a grenade, which was fun.
Cow killer confirmed. Oh, you threw a grenade? What was that like?
Yeah, it was great.
Was it spooky?
I was scared. The guy, he could tell.
Oh god, this nervous Englishman is gonna
Yeah.
drop it into his shoe or something.
But I also saw the pen where they had all the sheep and cows.
Oh no, they're little nervous
Bro.
faces. I'd be nervous that like the pin wouldn't want to come out that easily, and so I'd hold it in one hand and then pull the pin, but then I'd also pull the grenade out of my hand at the same
Yes.
time.
Yeah.
If you were to just play
Yeah.
football with a grenade, would it ever explode as long as the pin didn't come out?
I think not, because the whole point, if I recall, the pin is creating a chemical reaction with something like a piece of metal that something's connecting.
Yeah. Okay, I've got a better question. You pulled
Oh,
out the pin,
interesting.
right?
Yeah.
Do you think you would be capable of pulling that out with your teeth?
No.
Really?
It wasn't quite like a key of a car, but it was like there was a bit more of a mechanism to it. Yeah.
Ah, interesting. Because I've seen that with, like, there's Tom Cruise at the end of that movie that's on the screen right now, and he's got like a mouthful of grenade pins at the end. And he's, haha, I've defeated the big bad. And I was always wondering, like, oh, I bet that's not that easy to do.
They are amazing.
I didn't realize you had the expertise.
If I'm completely honest, I didn't really feel like much of expertise. I could only afford one.
It's funny, the guy who's editing this, he's ex-army.
Oh, really?
So he's probably like laughing at us right now. Because I'm sure he's got all sorts of experience with like grenades and tanks and shit.
Tanks. I'd like to drive a tank. That would, I mean, wherever lets me do that, that would be sweet.
You can't drive one over a cow. Would you go back to Cambodia now?
Yes, if only for the breakfast. The Cambodian breakfast is exceptional.
Really? Why?
It's like pork and rice, but my god, the pork is absolutely delicious. My core memory of the 3 weeks I spent there was just like getting up every morning and being like, another breakfast, please. Delicious. Yum, yum.
I gotta tell you, there's no breakfast food that I like, but in like Asian countries, it's like, what's for breakfast? Well, like duck and chili on rice with some green beans. Yeah, perfect.
You're setting yourself up for the morning.
Mm.
You should be loading up. The biggest meal of the day should be in the morning. That's when I start my morning. I have sausage, eggs, bacon, the whole 9 yards. I just get up and
Yeah,
ham my
America
little gullet.
breakfast is literally sugar, 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 sugar. But it should be proteins and everything, because you need something to start your day. Sugar doesn't start your day.
There were only certain things that you could get done by breakfast time.
Yes, I think in other countries, it's someone's job to get up really early and cook for like everyone else. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're trying to say. It's that you didn't drive a tank in Cambodia because they park them all backwards.
Excalibur, sword in the stone.
It should be the heartiest meal of the day.
That is also Excalibur. I think one of the stories is that when King Arthur dies.
That's why
he
for
just,
the
like,
longest
chops his own
time I
leg.
was only
no man can
eating
pull the sword
Pop-Tarts.
from this stone.
Mm.
These strong men come along and they're pulling at it and smudging up the handle. Up comes Arthur. Oh, please.
Oh, go on then, sir. Can I ever go on the swording the jig?
Oh, we'll all be laughing at you, kid, but go on. I guess he lubes it up and then he just pulls it out.
Easy for him. That's the idea, isn't it? That means he gets to be king, which is an interesting system of governance. I reckon we should go back to whoever's the strongest gets to be the leader.
I like that idea. Once in a while, I do see someone who's kind of weak and pathetic, and I think, why do you get to be in charge?
I think it should be whoever's the strongest or who's ever slept with the most women.
Hey, now you're thinking. But how would you prove that you would sleep with the most number of women in order to become the king?
I just like the idea that a guy would show up and just be like, yeah, I'm running for president, and here is a list of 50 women, you can call them up. Here's a few kids that look like me for proof.
It's like a bad list of references.
Yeah.
Hey, can I use you as a reference? Oh, yeah.
What, are you running for presidency? Instead of having a sex scandal, he would be like, yeah, it turns out he wasn't having that many affairs.
Oh, no, he was loyal to his wife. What's going on?
Get him out of there.
How hard is it to put a sword
What
in a
the
stone?
fuck?
That's a really good point.
That would be much more difficult than pulling it out of the stone. So the guy who put it in there, that should be the guy who's the king. Okay, what else we got for mystical weapons? Poseidon has a trident.
Poseidon's trident, good one, yeah. So he can command the sea with that, can't he? He can, like, make the waves move, make the fish fuck each other, something like that.
If your
Huh.
trident controls the ocean...
In the
what's
morning,
point of,
eat like an
appointing
emperor.
it? Like, he's
At
not
noon,
using the
eat
trident
like a
as
king,
well
and in
as
the
women,
evening, like a
right?
beggar.
Wait, what's the point
Oh,
of the trident?
I've never
That's a
heard
good
that
point.
saying
actually,
before.
What has a trident got to do with the sea?
What is a trident? Is it used for catching fish?
I don't know.
I never thought about this. Is a three-pronged spear is used for spearfishing.
No way.
Okay.
I guess it does make sense.
You know, that does, honestly, I sound like I'm repeating this guy right now, but that does make sense. Because the meal you eat before bed should be just enough to tide you over while your body is at, like, its lowest point of energy. So you don't need to eat a lot for dinner. Because dinner is not going to be what is continuing your energy for the day. Because you're going to be using a lot less energy. And then lunch is, like, to get you over the rest of your day. But breakfast is to get it started so you have enough energy to even tackle the day in the first place. That makes a lot of sense. Why is it backwards in America? Why is dinner seen as, like, the time that you eat your biggest meal? The fuck? America. We really decided to go backwards and, like, against the grain of every other fucking country that actually knows how shit works. Just because America.
If you're, like, going at a school of fish, you want as many prongs as you can get.
Yeah. What you'd really want is a 5-pronged spear, right? Because, see, this is 2D.
Explain why is 5 better than... No.
Okay, hold on. It goes down like that.
Yeah, I'm with you so far.
Now, if you've got a spear that goes like this, then, oh shit, I missed it. Or the fish was over here, and so I missed it. So what they're doing is they're making 2 more prongs.
Nice.
But that's only 2D. What you really want is 5, because...
Yeah, I mean, that is superior. I think, in contrast to this extremely bloodthirsty and violent episode, we should walk through a meadow, holding hands,
All right.
into the sunset.
Yeah, we'll do that for about 3 seconds until the editor gets bored. Yeah.
No, alright, outro.
Right, first thing I'm going to do is fill in that mustache gap.
No, stop it.
I've got a permanent
Stop doing
marker in
that.
one hand, and I'm holding your head down with the other.
Oh yeah, well, I'm hacking the mainframe, and I'm gonna turn your webcam on.
No, don't.
Hey everyone, he's a furry. He's wearing his fursuit now.
How about this, right? I'm going to be an unsuspecting victim, and you are going to be an assassin.
Brill, okay.
And if you manage to kill me, then the episode ends. Otherwise, I'm just gonna keep rambling.
Okay, well, I'm coming up behind you with a plastic bag, manhunt style.
You can't just walk into my house. I keep the door locked.
That's why I kicked it in with my muscles.
I heard that. Now I've run up to my panic room. I'm on the phone with the police.
Don't worry, the police are in my pocket.
Bribed the entire police.
It was easy. Now I'm gonna put some C4 round the corners of your panic room, and I'm gonna blow this bitch up. Button press.
I now open the door with my scythe, and I begin to sweep at your legs.
Ah!
Swish, swish. Now the hunter has become the hunted.
Get away! I'll swat your hand away and pull out a funky-looking knife.
Oh no, it's got dog dew on the end of it.
Get away!
This is interesting.
Get in your panic room.
I'm now running up the stairs and doing a very difficult action for the editor to keep up with.
Don't worry, I'll make it easier for you by flinging a shuriken into the back of your head.
Yeah, I like the idea that I'm running away, right? And mid-sentence.
We've got to end this episode, and I'm going to end it by ending you.
Okay.
I break down your door, and I start throwing some shurikens at you.
Ah, too late. I have picked up a wooden table and
Well, that's okay, because that was just my distraction for my real plan, which is to feed you this delicious poisoned apple. You cannot resist its juicy goodness.
I already had breakfast.
Oh, what did you eat?
It was some duck, some chili, and some green beans from Cambodia.
God, that sounds absolutely delicious. I've really lost the appetite for murder. Would you instead like to hold hands and have a delicious Cambodian breakfast?
That sounds lovely. Maybe
It
we
does
could
sound
kill a
really
cow
good.
as well, like you did.
That is not canon.
Yeah, I know. It wasn't a cow. Was it a child? A small Cambodian refugee. They had survived a much worse country and finally made it to Cambodia. The place where they could finally prosper. But then they ended up in a hole, receiving the bad end of a grenade from ordinary things.
This is rubbish. Let's try something else.
Yeah. Everyone, go to your computer right now. Type in tickets to Syria.
Comma.
What happens if I destroy my passport? How do I renounce my citizenship?
How to buy ammo on deep/dark web.
How to smuggle cash on plane.
Do X-rays detect LSD? They don't. Save you a Google there.
Wow. What's like a shitty version of Pablo Escobar?
No outro this time. Video is over. Was there some weird recommended videos there? Well, which one do you want to watch?
We should watch one of my videos on the main channel.
Oh, what
I
the
love watching
fuck?
Myself and listening to myself.
Yeah, me too.
Mm.
Is one of my videos in the recommended? No? Oh, that's fine.
I was like, why are they still
I haven't
talking?
watched your videos in ages. No. Is it just
Oh my god.
me? Or do you also have like tremendous contempt for the audience?
Hate them. Can't stand them.
Like I hate the fans.
They're the worst. I want to turn a weapon on them and then onto myself.
I just want to tell them, fuck off.
Oh no, the video's still going.
Someone just turned the lights off in the lounge. Quick, cause a distraction.
Quickly.
Uh-oh. Now the Spanish version of this same video has started playing. Wait, quick, what's the Spanish word for weapons?
Armas. Armas. Quesque armas.
Oh, I was about to do that.
Now I'm doing the
You stole my bed.
I'm doing the Spanish intro, baby.
Okay, maybe something like, welcome to this Spanish version. It is exactly the same content. Instead, it is a lot sexier. A beautiful
It's so
weather woman has
racist.
entered the room, and we shall make sweet music together. Bing, 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 bing. It's like clicking on the maracas. Fuck, this is gonna be a 10-minute outro.
And then I drown myself in the toilet.
Yes.
Hitman style.
Alright, bye, ordinary thing.
Alright.
Turns out this video is actually pretty easy to write. In 2016, Dr. Jeremiah Appleton and his team ran a study where they would have gamers fill out surveys regarding their personality. They would agree or disagree with statements like, I have a colorful imagination when I am alone, I enjoy the company of others, I worry I am not accomplishing enough, or I feel the need to win even if it hurts someone else's feelings, etc., etc. All statements you can feel free to answer quietly to yourself if you like. Dr. Appleton then had the subjects report what video game genres they enjoyed the most. And in most cases, subjects that typically enjoyed JRPGs had more quiet, reserved personalities and often had serious doubts as to whether they had made the right decision or done the right thing in games and in life. Those that typically enjoyed platformers and more fast-paced games like Doom often had a strong tendency to be critical of themselves. Fans of puzzle games like Tetris or Hue prefer a certain amount of change and variety in their everyday lives, and become dissatisfied when governed by restrictions and limitations. The same goes for fans of Minecraft and other open-world sandbox games who also specifically have personalities that lend themselves to a great need for other people to like and admire them. And if
Stop
you're
it.
finding these statements to feel accurate of your own gaming preferences and personality, quit that, because every word of what I just said was made up.
Okay.
Including that first line. This video is a royal bitch to make. How does our
I was like,
personality
damn, I'm being called
affect
out.
what games we prefer playing? It's a damn good question, and one that has been investigated by people much smarter than me. But before we dive into this, I'd like to make a couple of disclaimers and a couple of examples. Out of you. I didn't set that whole opening thing up just to screw with you, although I didn't necessarily not enjoy doing that. I did it to point out that personality psych is a slippery slope. If you happen to really find yourself believing what I said about personalities there, you fell victim to the Barnum effect, which is how psychics and horoscope writers stay in business. Ambiguous statements that can be true of pretty much anyone when presented specifically to you about you can very easily begin to feel true. Pair that with a little bit of confirmation bias, and suddenly everything we talk about today may lead you to believe that you are an incredibly creative person just because you put more hours into Persona 5 than your entire undergrad degree. I'm not judging, that's a self-burn, but I just want you to be aware. Watch your footing on this video and take it with a grain of salt. Alright, enough disclaimers. Let's dive into the tremendously fascinating world of personality. One more thing though, sorry. You should know that personality is not the most rock-solid field in psych. There are measures developed to try and capture our personalities, but between the changing of age and the changing of culture around us, who we are is ever shifting. Also, most research tends to be correlational, so what we're talking about today is tendencies and a snapshot of what we think we know, not laws. So again, grain of salt. And its intersection with game preference. If I asked you to give me a breakdown of your favorite types of games to play, you'd probably start by telling me some genres. You might even rattle off some titles. You put a lot of time into Ghost Runner. Maybe you get cheap thrills and fast-paced games like that in Mirror's Edge. Oh, you and your friends are still playing Animal Crossing. That's, I respect it. You might enjoy the sensation of dunking on your friends, or maybe your dreams are just a little bit too peaceful and you like to go out of your way to ruin that whole thing. Maybe you tell me you like getting absorbed in a story like something seen in Xenoblade or Tsushima. Maybe your pants get tighter when you shave off a few seconds of your Portal speedrun, or when you finally unlock that last support for Dorothea. A fellow fan of the opera, I see. No matter your personal syllabus of titles or ways to play said titles, we can measure genre preference. But if I asked you to give me a breakdown of your personality, you'd probably talk in more circles than your buddy trying to get you to invest in Dogecoin. It's hard to get a true read on personality, but psychologists have come up with a few methods.
Oh
and the one
no.
we'll be using today is the Big 5 personality traits developed by Lewis Goldberg. The Big 5 traits are sort of the most accepted, replicable, and used measure in the world of psych today, and each trait essentially works on a sliding scale, with most people falling somewhere in the middle. Generally, personalities don't sit at the extreme, just closer to one. Remember, we're ever changing. We'll dive more deeply into each individual trait as we get to some of the bigger points of the video, but just as an example, openness, to wildly oversimplify it, refers to our willingness and desire to seek out / think about new things. People with high openness tend to be very creative, enjoy trying new things, are extremely curious, and are happy with change. Those with low openness despise change. You won't catch them rearranging their room or changing their schedule much. They don't like new, and they don't like abstract ideas. Conscientiousness sort of deals with how organized you are. Do you pay attention to detail and strategize, or act on a whim? Agreeableness refers to our interest in others. Are we empathetic and helpful, or are we self-serving and oblivious to others? Neuroticism deals with emotional stability and how you handle stress, and I think you're already familiar with extroversion. At our core, we all land somewhere on each of these 5 scales. Maybe you're pretty low on the extroversion scale, but you are highly agreeable, so you really empathize with people, therefore you might enjoy a good emotional story, but don't care much for partaking in real-world human interaction. As an introvert, I can relate to you. Maybe you're highly conscientious, so you love games where you plan ahead and strategize, but due to your neuroticism, you often get stressed when you have to make a tough decision. Maybe you over-prepare for that mission or get choice paralysis when trying to decide on an outfit or a skill. This is all my speculation, by the way. I'm just trying to give you an idea of how your personality might affect how you approach titles. Luckily, though, we don't have to speculate much. There has been some remarkable work done here by one Dr. Nick Yee of Quantic Foundry. In 2015, Yee and his team gathered data from over 140,000 gamers using their homegrown gamer motivation profile, which you can still take now if you like, and I recommend you do at some point. It's really eye-opening and fun. Link in the description. Pop it open in a new tab and take it after you finish this. From this data, they found that gamers typically play due to a combination of any of these 12 motivations. You might play to stretch your creative muscles, you might play to get wrapped up in a story or to feel like you're someone else. Some folks do it for the challenge, some folks do it for the power trip, many of you crave the community and the competition, and some of us just like to blow shit up. Likely though, we are all some combination of any of these. People are rarely so one-dimensional. And since most people exhibit multiple of these motivations when playing games, Yee and his colleagues used a little technique called multidimensional scaling for the data, which maps out the correlation between these variables. If 2 motivations are more correlated, they are put closer together, whereas motivations that are less correlated are placed farther apart. Meaning, since these 2 dots are close to each other, if you are really into gaming for destruction, you are likely also into it for excitement, but less likely to be into it for strategy. When you take a look at the full map from the data, you can get a better idea of what motivations are related. And you might see that you probably fall into one of these 3 clusters, or maybe even dip your toes into 2 of them, which is exactly what Yee and his team noticed. There were 3 higher level structures, 3 primary types of players that most motivation correlations fall under. Action social, which combines the love of fast-paced gameplay with player interaction. Immersion creativity, which combines the interest in stories, player expression, and exploration. And mastery achievement, which mixes the appeal of strategic gameplay, tough challenges, and chasing achievement. The discovery and power motivations are tricky. They don't really fit in just one cluster, and according to Yee, they sort of act as bridges between the 3 major groups. Meaning, if you identify with the immersion creativity cluster and the mastery achievement cluster, discovery likely really appeals to you. Now keep in mind, this is simply motivations we're talking about, not how personality affects them. But what's fascinating is that much like the Big 5 personality traits, the gamer motivations mapping is consistent across several different regions and cultures, which could suggest that gaming motivations and personality are both in some ways universal for all of us, and furthermore could be related in some sort of consistent manner. As I was reading up on this and writing the script for this video, I realized that all that was left to do was find proof of this relationship. And as I embarked on this noble quest into the sweaty migraine-inducing DMV that is Google Scholar and try to find some research that could connect the 2, I was surprised to find that Dr. Yee had already broken ground on that research, making my job a lot easier, God bless this man. Only a few weeks later, the good people over at Quantic gathered data from the gamers who filled out their gamer motivation profile and a Big 5 personality test. They then analyzed the correlations between the participants' offline personality traits and their gaming motivations. Pretty much what I made up in the beginning of this video, but this time I'm not juicing your kiwis, Connor. They actually did this and did it correctly. And what they found was statistically significant correlations, meaningful connections that, based on the sample size, did not happen by chance. They stumbled upon the invisible strings that connect who we are to the experiences we love. The action social cluster, which contains the high motivations of excitement, competition, and community, were largely connected to high levels of extroversion. Now, extroversion is usually characterized by people as being outgoing or being good around others, but research supports that it's more accurately characterized by excitability, emotional expressiveness, cravings of excitement, and gaining energy in social situations. Not necessarily being good in them, but gaining something from it, even if it's simply competition or attention. Consider this. You don't have to like people to be an extrovert, and yet you may still gain something from being around them. So you may very well choose to pick up fighting games because your extroversion makes you crave the competition, just as well as you may play action adventures for the constant excitement, or MMOs and social sims because you do actually like the people in your life and get something meaningful from kind interaction with others. Another correlation they found was between openness and the immersion creativity cluster. RPGs, sandboxes, open worlds, anything with a deep immersive story or a way to express creativity. Most players that enjoy these games tended to have high levels of openness, which, like we discussed earlier, is characterized by imagination and creativity. Folks high in this tend to have a broad range of interests, enjoy change, and are open to new and varied experiences, which may explain why these people can finish JRPGs even after weird interactions like,
"You know, this is how I earn a living."
Huh? Really? I thought you were just doing it for fun.
I suppose some people do.
Hello, I'm some people. Nice to meet you.
I joke, but this is 100% me. I'm here for the story, and I don't care how weird things get. I'd be willing to bet that the Undertale fanbase is full of high openness people because, again, the trait is all about painting outside the lines, which is probably why it also correlates highly to the enjoyment of sandboxes like Minecraft and games with hefty customization like Monster Hunter World. Conscientiousness was slightly mapped to the Mastery Achievement cluster, which makes sense. Highly conscientious folks are preparers, strategizers, task-oriented schedule followers that likely find challenging strategy games like Advance Wars and XCOM to be just the right scritch to their itch. The correlation here wasn't as strong as the others, but it may shine a little light on the type of people that enjoy finding all of the achievements. Again, that highly conscientious detail and task-oriented nature probably lends itself to finding some pleasure in unlocking all the achievements and getting all of the collectibles. Okay, I'm gonna come up for air now. That was a lot of big words. Couple things to note. The correlations here are significant and they were insightful, but they aren't exactly high, meaning that this only gives us a glimpse into what is usually the case, but is certainly not universal truths. After all, you may be the most detail-oriented, conscientious person on Earth, and yet hate playing strategy games because your personality ruins them. Maybe they just come off as a chore and you have too many of those in real life, so you'd rather unwind with something relaxing. Like I said earlier, fat grain of salt. If episode 1 and
Yeah, I don't really
Psychology
play
studies have taught
strategy
me anything,
games.
it's that
There's always a bigger fish.
and there is always an exception. But I do think that there is a lot of truth in these correlations. After all, if you're super introverted, you likely would enjoy playing alone. If you're high in openness, the stranger and more novel a world is, the more likely you are to really want to sink your teeth into it. Which, by the way, this kind of supports my personal theory of why when a new game trailer drops, you may find yourself going, not for me, whereas your buddy gets hype and just tosses it on their mountain of a backlog because they want to play it all. High openness is great and all, but if everything new is appealing, RIP to your buddy's wallet and free time. Or maybe you're the buddy, I'm the buddy, my backlog is bigger than my future. For what it's worth, my take on how who we are affects what we play has to do with personality reinforcement. We seek out not just games, but media in general that reflects our personality. Like Dr. Yi mentioned in the closing statements of this study, games are often stereotyped as escapist fantasies so that we can be who we're not. But we may in fact play them to better experience who we truly are, how we actually tick, and better understand our own identities. A few studies gathered in a meta-analysis by NCBI reveals that our music and television consumption is often for purposes of identity management, emotional regulation, and companionship, especially in younger people. Which leads me to believe that in a lot of ways, gaming may
I'm
influence
totally
our
taking this test
personality
after
in
this.
the same way personality affects our gaming. Personality
I wanna
may
know.
in fact be the original spark that triggers our interest, but I think over time they act upon each other back and forth. Games may serve as a mirror that reveals what we do and don't enjoy and what we do and don't identify with, which, especially in our earlier years, might structure who we are. Personality often runs into the nature versus nurture debate, which is almost always both when it comes to most psychology topics. Genetics certainly plays a part in personality, as has been shown in studies with twins. In fact, based on this twin study, genetic influence on the big 5 traits were all estimated to be around 50%, which means that personality is likely half formed by our genes and half by our experiences. So the reason you keep coming back to fighting games may be because you are highly extroverted, but it may also be because your first gaming experience as a kid was Melee. It may not be as black and white as your personality affecting what you play. It may go both ways. A couple of stray thoughts before we pull this video out of the oven. Age is also a huge factor. Some research presented in 2003 suggests that as we age, our personality shifts. Conscientiousness and agreeableness tends to go up through your 20s, and openness tends to decline. Meaning for a lot of people, you really may find yourself narrowing these genres you play. Maybe not everything new will be quite as appealing, which I think kind of supports the whole notion of identity management and formation in your early years, though I could just be seeing what I want to see with that. There are also other models of gaming motivations than Yee's that you might want to consider. Bartle's player types, for example, plots you as one of 4 different player types, depending on if you tend to be more interested in the world versus other players and acting upon those things or interacting with them. Jason Vanderberg's Domains of Play model may also be worth checking out. Ultimately, it is extremely difficult to pin down just what exactly the relationship between our personalities and our game preferences is. It could be something we just can't quite grasp yet, and the research I've gathered for you today only reveals the tip of the iceberg. Then again, it could all be white noise, grasping at the wind, small tendencies that reveal more about what we think is true than what is actually the case. But what it most certainly is delicious food for thought. If you take away anything from this video, know that there is no right or wrong personality type, just like there is no right or wrong game preference. We're all different and all seek what fulfills us. Above all, I hope that this research encourages you to make a diligent effort to understand your personality and not try to correct it. It's often said that you should just be yourself, but I know from experience that's not such a simple task. I think a better piece of advice would be get to know yourself. Take the time to learn who you are, pay attention to what makes you smile, and don't be ashamed of it. Games have always helped me do that, and regardless of how your personality truly affects what you play, I think as long as you're enjoying yourself, it doesn't really matter, does it? Howdy, partner. Thank you so much for watching today. You could have watched any video in the world, but you're here with me, and I appreciate that. I hope you got something of value out of this, and hey, if you want more videos on personality, like how it might affect your in-game decision-making or how quickly you find yourself getting tilted, let me know by liking the video, sharing with a friend, or subscribing if you haven't already done so already. And if you'd like to pick that next topic, then you should join my dear friends over on Patreon who made this video possible and voted for this topic. Shout out to this month's featured patrons, Lucas Calbertot, Daniel King, Genji,
He said he put the link in here, the gamer motivation profile. Female. Jesus, thanks. How many days? 2 to 3 days, maybe? Depends. It's a core. I definitely play PC more than I do handheld now. Oh, I can check all that apply. Okay, cool. And I do have a VR, but I wouldn't say I usually play on it. That one's more of like on the occasion. Actually, I play games on everything. What? Who am I kidding? Who am I kidding? Oh. Minecraft. Franchise. Any web mobile? Yeah, yes and no. I haven't actually touched Cookie Run Kingdom in a minute, but and then I guess technically Pokemon Sleep because I do play that every night. Any other games? I haven't played Zenless in a minute, but I do enjoy Zenless. Marvel Rivals, that's what it is. Any other games? Not recently, because I think every other game that I've touched so far was last year, so I'm not gonna really, I don't think I'll count last year's games. How important? Not at all. Eh. I like knowing about characters. Somewhat important. I don't really get into the mindset of being that character that I am playing. Somewhat. I really only do that with rhythm games. Because I can't do easy mode on rhythm games because I'm used to like the stuff coming at you a little faster. So if I tried it on easy, I like overcompensate. So I have to usually start out with the hard mode. So, somewhat. I love customizing. I hate difficult challenges. Don't care about becoming powerful. Not at all. I love storyline. Somewhat important because I need the in-game currency to buy the pretty clothes. It is definitely fun. Finding ways to complete something that normally wouldn't be completed that way. How much you enjoy? A lot.
Lizard.
Lizard. Taking on the role of another character person. I don't know. This one's like a hit or miss. Yeah, somewhat. I don't care about guns and explosives. I'm not a blood and gore kind of person. I used to like say I was when I was younger, but I was also an edgy teenager. Okay, an agent of chaos and destruction though. Blowing things up. Yeah. Who doesn't love blowing things up in games? Careful decision making. Somewhat. Yar. How often? Always. If I actually properly understood the way other people played a game, I wouldn't lose as much as I do in fighting games. I finished off this how your personality affects what you play video, and he was talking about this gamer motivation profile quiz that this person made, and he linked it in the thing, so I'm taking it. I like testing things out. Yes. Actually, that one's an always. Always. I love exploring games. I am a bard. Bards are team players who want to chat and interact with other players in game worlds that are rich with lore, stories, discovery, and customization. For them, the game is a grand story that emerges from a community. Spontaneous, relaxed, social, and creative. Creativity at 94%. I hear the toilet running. Hold on.
Lizard. 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 Lizard.
Ugh. Lizard.
Lizard.
Lizard. Okay. Sorry. Hydra was making ramen. That's the water that I heard running. Okay. Ah. Rude. You're gay. Markin, I took the test. I'm a bard. A high creative, of course. Yeah. Womp.
DaVinci Surgical System is the most advanced streamlined surgical experience for minimally invasive surgery available in the world today.
I could build that.
What? Hi, Miax.
Hey, how's everyone's
I'm
global
not
health crisis
stinky.
going? My house is on full goddamn quarantine, and I'll probably be dead in a week anyway. Not from the virus, like a or something. It's actually giving me a lot of free time, and what better way to spend free time right now than to help the medical industry? Now, I can't do any chemistry or biology or like body stuff, yuck, but I can do robotics, and let me tell you, those DaVinci surgery robotics rat bastards are ripping hospitals off. Look at this, $2 million for one shitty robot. They can spend that on a couple hundred bandages or like one ambulance ride in the US. We can build a better surgery robot for a lot less. Come on. The biggest flaw in DaVinci's design is that it relies on these clunky, slow robotic arms for movement. Say you're operating on a patient's foot. He starts screaming out in pain. You gotta get up to his face, smack him around a little bit, make him shut up. Good fucking luck with these robotic arms. They're slow as shit and they don't have any travel distance. Instead, we're gonna mount the surgical tools to a rail system that can move anywhere on the operating table. Hey, look, it's past Michael. You know it took him 5 whole days to 3D model and build one rail carriage? What a dipshit. Hey man, shut the fuck up. This shit's hard. Make me, you little bitch. I'm the narrator. I'm like God. You can't kill me.
I'm not stinky. You can't smell me that far. I think you're smelling your upper lip.
Down the slots in this aluminum rod. But Michael, you're just gonna use your hand to make it move? No, you're stupid, and I hate you. For power, we're using a brushless DC motor and an O drive to turn this into kind of like a brushless servo motor. Do I know what that means? Absolutely fucking not. I've never done this before. What I do know is someone told my voice cracked. What I do know is someone told me this would be fast and very accurate. And all you have to do to put it in is whoosh. I forgot to record all the sound effects, okay? Give me a fucking break. Lit. I got the motor very professionally hooked up to the driver board, which is hooked up to my computer, so we can see what this thing can do. Okay, so this is the, like, calibration sequence. It needs to do this before it actually runs. Oh, that's so fucking sick! I think it should be a little faster, though. Okay,
no.
It has default parameters, so you can
Not
just
me,
turn those
smell.
on. Let's try it out now.
No.
No, fuck. Oh, bad. That's good. That's fast. Give me 1 second. Okay, you just stand right there.
Whoa, it's pretty cool.
We just gotta put a few of these together, and it looks like this. I did the quirky little snap celebration a few weeks ago.
I just heard her
But I
fucking
built this
die
test
in the
platform out of
background.
aluminum and wood that I stole from my girlfriend's bed frame. It's not like I can go to Home Depot on quarantine. It's just a prototype, so I can write and test the software before I build the actual thing, but even the prototype is pretty cool. It's the same idea with the motor carriage on the x-axis, but now we have 2 additional motors on the y-axis. And on their own, they're just motors. They don't know how to talk to each other, they don't know how to cooperate. But if you write some software that can talk to all the motors, you can make it do pretty much anything you want. This is the homing sequence. It figures out the bounds of the machine.
I figured
by
out how
measuring
to
the
make it
diameter
where,
of
like,
the on the motors
when the head turns, the hair does still bounce a little bit, and it's not stiff.
You can make it. You can make it do this. Maybe not as stable as you want it to be, but yeah, it's just a prototype. So stupid. So I'm controlling it with my mouse right now. It looks jerky and awful, but it's actually got a really good amount of precision. to it. It's
Delicioso.
kinda going in a circle from the top-down view. Like I said, this is not the final surgery robot. It's going to be much more refined, much more medical looking, you know, much more safe for the user. And all that movement was controlled by the code I wrote. Don't worry, I'm not going to show it. I know everyone thinks it's boring, so we. Psych, I don't give a shit what you think. Look at this dynamic bounds detection routine that's fucking sick.
Here's a limit switch. You can put it here to detect the bounds of your machine. Yeah, fuck that limit switch. It's cringe. Instead, write some code that steps the motor forward until it starts using a lot of
This
power.
number's
Then you
called
hit
me
the edge of the rail,
3
then you know
days in
exactly
a
where you are in
row. What the
relation to the bounds
fuck?
of the machine. It's fucking sick. Look how cool the code part is, guys. I'm gonna keep going. This part applies the scaling factors that are calculated as a
You
function
can't
of the
hear me.
But Michael, I hear you ask. So you
Oh,
can
no,
move
I
the
wasn't
medical
saying
tools
anything.
from
I
one
was
part of the
pretending to
operating
eat the
table if you
egg.
want. Great, but how are you going to move the medical tools up and down to engage with the patient?
We're
Well, that's
listening
where
to
the
Disco.
carriage utility mechanism
Why
comes
the
into
wrong time? He
play.
goes,
That's the thing
the
that's like
band
the
got
scalpel
one more
or
fucking
whatever,
chance.
which is great. There's just a small problem.
That's
right? Well,
great.
I built it, which is a good thing. My original plan was, you know, just to have a thin piece of plastic with a motor attached to it that moves a plate. Easy. But then I saw that thing. Okay, there's no way that's gonna survive, so I gotta make it a little strong. You know, I may as well make it go a little faster. I got a little carried away. Now it looks like a time bomb and it weighs 10 fucking pounds. It works great. The motor precisely moves the mounting plate up and down wherever you want it to go. The thing is, I just don't know if those motors can handle 10 pounds, so we're gonna have to do a little test. Michael, why don't you just use the carriage utility mechanism to test it out? Well, it took me a long time to build, and it's fucking beautiful, so cry more. It looks like it's handling small movements pretty well. Y-axis action. Okay, that's not that bad. Okay. Oh, it's fine. It'll be fine. We can probably just go ahead and make the final version. And it looks like this. I did the stupid hand thing again. It's been 3 more weeks. I have severe depression. But Michael, where's the surgery robot? Wait for it. Wait for it. Oh, big reveal. This is the surgery robot. Massive payoff. Huge. I have brain damage. Behold the superior surgery robot, you Da Vinci
Ew.
It's got the comm. It's got the cable management. It's got the super fucking hard to reach driver boards. I don't know
Oh,
why
that
I
made me
put 'em on here.
dizzy.
I thought it would look cool. But Michael, does it work? Does it work? Does it work? I don't know if it works. I haven't turned it on yet. I've been too afraid since it took me so long to build, so I turned the camera on so you can at least see my tears when it tears itself apart. I'm worried about this shit because when I built it, I went ooga booga caveman brain, metal strong. Metal not strong. Metal more like McDonald's play place trampoline. But you gotta take chances when you're innovating on the next great thing, so I'm gonna turn it on. Oh God, oh please. Yeah, okay. Please don't break it. Yeah! All right, the machine's working. Now we can start to control it. But Michael, where's the controller? Fuck you. You are the controller. I got this VR hand tracking camera off of Amazon that works super goddamn well. So you just take the hand coordinates from this, pipe them into the surgery robot, and bing, bang, boom. Oh, boom! Fuck you, DaVinci Robotics. You can move my thing with just floating your hand around. Robot, go here. Oh, robot, do surgery here. Oh no, patient bleeding there. Oh, do surgery there on that part. How about you do surgery over here? Now do surgery over there, and now do surgery. Fuck you, DaVinci. You shitty robot can't do that. You need to squeeze those.
I'm not even moving my head in a circle. I'm just going up and down. Slam the brakes. Nice hands, feet. Like I didn't teach him that.
So let's buy a
Jeez.
scalpel on Amazon. Wow, that is just unacceptable. Scalpels are gonna take a whole 3 days. Wow, that's pretty reasonable. Fuck no, that's messed up. Dang global health crisis. That's far too long. If only I had an alternative. When you really think about it, scalpels are just shitty, smaller knives. So why don't we just use bigger, better knives? Like,
What?
hello, we already have those. Wake up, sheeple.
Why are those
Tired of
moving
outdated
separately from
surgical
each other?
technology? Are you looking for the cutting edge in power, precision, and usability? Look no further. The future of surgical robotics is here.
Look at the fucking knife.
Unlike some other surgical systems,
What the fuck?
we run a gamut of tests to ensure our machine has power.
I'm gonna stab a pineapple with commencing the operation. Operate on it. Surgery over here now. Patient, small incision. We'll move the patient. Commence surgery on the patient.
But power isn't the only thing we strive for. Precision is an essential tenet of surgery, and we make no exceptions when testing for accuracy.
What the fuck is that? Hey, you ready to do some painting? You know what, Lily, come on, please. Oh shit! Oh, fuck. Draw the Mona Lisa. Draw the Mona Lisa.
Oh, I got the paint. Eyes.
That's a little racist looking, Lily. I'm not
Oh, she's controlling it with her hand. Oh. What the fuck? That's actually really cool.
I'm not gonna pressure you, but this is supposed to show how accurate my machine is. It'll reach the water.
Let's see a Da Vinci try to do that. You might be wondering, is the system FDA approved? But don't just take our word for it. Here's what a real medical professional has to say about this innovative new technology.
We're gonna go for like a laparoscopic appendectomy. So we just make a small incision
Why
above the
is
chest
this
here.
hair moving?
We can. A little bit more difficult.
Those are
for
moving
some
together, but
procedures,
this
not-
is moving
you can
separately
see
from each
still
other
have
now.
a
What
lot
the
more
fuck?
accurate control than a lot of surgical systems. Fuck. Like I was saying, moving the patient is a lot easier with the system. Like normally you'd have to manually move them. Would you add this to your do you think hospitals could adopt?
Seems a little dangerous.
Oh, that's why
I
I'm
appreciate the
stupid.
feedback. You're wrong.
Last but not least, we've made our machines so intuitive
I'd
that
reflected
anyone can
something
do
without
surgery with
realizing
no
I
prior
reflected
training.
it.
So you've never seen this machine before in your life. It's perfect because this study is to see if we can bring someone from zero.
Now, if
skill
I
level all
shake
way
the
up to
head too
ability.
aggressively,
Move
you
up
can
right
see
in
some
front of- not too close, 'cause
headlines.
it's kind of dangerous. So just put your hand out.
But unless you're shaking the head super aggressively, that shouldn't be
You
some.
just put your hand out above the thing. So higher up controls the knife position. You can move it further closer and it'll get further away from you. We're gonna make a small incision right above the ear. There's some mistakes. So you're doing it wrong.
He put-
Well, fuck. You're clearly make another incision to stop. Plug the hole with the knife. Yeah, perfect. Nice. Yeah, you perfect. Oh, it's okay. No, it's fine. It's learning. It's a learning experience. Try and retract the knife
Why did
from
he
the head.
fill it with
Try and get
so
out.
much fake blood?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, good incision. If your patient's over here and you don't want him to be over there, move him over here. Do some surgery over here. Move him back. I don't even know what surgery this was supposed to be. Thank you for watching. That concludes research and development for my surgical system. If you're a hospital looking to try it out, follow me on Twitter, subscribe to me on YouTube, and maybe, just maybe, I'll let you borrow it for a bit. Remember, stay in school, smoke crack.
The fact that it tracks your hand to move stuff around in general is actually really cool.
Raycon. I have to send them this ad early, and they're gonna have no fucking idea what's going on. Raycons are super convenient. Why?
Interesting. I was thinking about Did You Know Gaming, but things to watch. New stuff discovered. Wow. Why isn't playing in the
Know
video?
that
There we
the
go.
boy in the Kakariko graveyard eventually became a Skull Kid. Or
Oh.
that Hyrule was going to have a sea as well as a lake. Or that you could originally fish in the Water Temple boss room. Over the last few years, we've been crawling through hundreds of foreign magazines for new information and tidbits to translate. During our search for today's video, we stumbled upon a few interesting Ocarina of Time facts, including some from a Japanese Miyamoto interview that we had translated. So, unless you used to live in Japan, you probably haven't heard some of the stuff in this video. As well as the interview, this issue of 64 Dream has a developer Q&A that's pretty interesting. The Miyamoto stuff is fresh, but this Q&A's already been translated online. It still has a few interesting points we want to mention though, so we're going to go over this first and throw in a few obscure Zelda tidbits we found during our research. So, let's get into it. If you've ever wondered where Princess Ruto's mother is, according to Ocarina's script director Toru Osawa, she's probably dead. After being questioned about her whereabouts, Osawa says she must have already passed, but given King Zora's looks, she must have been beautiful. Another tidbit early in the Q&A comes from character designer Yoshiki Haruhana, who brings up how Princess Ruto was modeled after a hammerhead shark, but with 4 eyes. He said, she's like a human girl with a bit of hammerhead shark in her head. As she matures, these side eyes slowly sink into her head. Another bit of insight comes from Ocarina's 3D system director, Yoshiaki Koizumi. Koizumi reveals in the Q&A that the graveyard boy in Kakariko Graveyard eventually became a Skull Kid. According to Koizumi, the boy wandered into the Lost Woods looking for his missing father and had an accident. He then became a Skull Kid. We came across more hidden details during our research. Hylian's script on some of the game's items hold secrets that aren't visible in-game, only in high-resolution renders. Ocarina's high-res dungeon map render has Hylian text, which seems to reference Nintendo's main offices circa 1998. When translated, the Hylian room labels actually say things like President Office, Security Guard Post, Bicycle Parking, Off-Campus Dining, and even Get off at Kihan Tobakaido Station, then walk 1 minute. It also has text which translates to Mario Club. Mario Club was a debugging team within Nintendo for years before becoming an official subsidiary under the Nintendo licensing division in Kyoto in 2009. You may recognize Mario Club from the special thanks credit in some of Nintendo's best games for their efforts debugging and testing. One item needed to complete Ocarina's trading quest and acquire the Bigoron sword is an eye drop prescription. Hylian text is readable on the prescription and reads, "For the time being, the most important thing is to believe. Hold deep within your heart the notion that you will get better." In the trading quest, players show the prescription to King Zora to get the eyeball frog, which is then given to the lake scientist, who uses the frog to make some eye drops. The implication seems to be that the frog was sacrificed to make the eye drops. And back in the Q&A, the interviewer expresses how sad that seems. Yoshiaki Koizumi agrees, but points out that using frogs in eye medicine is a practice from ancient times, then goes on to drop some obscure lore. He says, it may be sad, but there's a lot of animals that have uses in life. In every region of Hyrule, there's a festival each year held to thank the animals that are of use to humans. There's more Zelda facts coming up, but first, a word from today's sponsor, Rocket Money. Here to
Games that don't fake the
is a
space.
personal finance app that helps you manage subscriptions, lower bills, make a custom
Games that don't fake the space.
sponsoring this video. And now, back to the trivia. Another tidbit in this Q&A comes from field designer Makoto Miyanaga. Miyanaga mentions that the game's lighting system was adjusted thousands of times during development. he personally tweaked the way the morning and dusk fog worked, trying to get the right feel. I must have adjusted the morning and dusk lighting and fog thousands of times, he said. We stumbled upon another field designer that made personal tweaks to Ocarina. Somewhere on the wall of every minigame area, there's a poster with the same texture featuring Gerudo and Hylian script. Although very low resolution, the Gerudo script is legible and reads Hiromasa Shikata. Shikata is credited in Ocarina for field design, so he presumably hid this developer credit himself. Ocarina of Time was Shikata's first gig at Nintendo, but it wasn't his last. He'd go on to work on Majora's Mask, Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, Spirit Tracks, and he'd even become the director for both A Link Between Worlds and Triforce Heroes. In the Q&A, sound programmer Yoji Inagaki says the game uses over 1,000 sound effects, and that he and another programmer created all of them, using randomization to make sure they never felt too repetitive. He said, each sound made carefully to contribute to the overall atmosphere on screen. Composer Koji Kondo also mentions that the team avoided using the classic overworld theme because of how long players spend in Hyrule Field. He said, we were most concerned about the same melody repeated over and over, and instead opted for music that shifted depending on Link's location or situation. Elsewhere in the Q&A, one developer touches on some cut content. Boss programmer Kazuaki Morita brings up how in an earlier version of the game, players could fish in the Water Temple boss room. He says, I came in to help at the halfway point. Making the fishing hole was difficult. At the time, you were able to fish inside the Water Temple boss room. Using a few other interviews and some observations from data miners, it seems after joining the team and seeing Morpha's boss room, Morita got the idea to add a fish swimming around the pool. Once he saw the fish swimming, he realized he could make a fishing minigame and decided to prototype it using existing assets. He made a fishing rod by modifying another model and reused Link's sword swing animation for casting the rod. Some evidence suggests this boss room fishing prototype was accessible using debugging tools. A leaked development commit log attributed to Morita instructs anyone who wants to see the secret work he was doing should set the variable SEX69 to 1, then hold R and press L 6 times using controller 2, then load the boss area via map select. However, it appears that sometime between the date of the log entry and the game's release, Morita's secret fishing room was either cut out or written over. Our research led us to another piece of cut in-game content. During Ocarina's development, Nintendo of Europe's Madrid office initially planned for a full Spanish localization, but the effort was abandoned mid-production due to difficulties faced by the main developers in Japan. As a compromise, the Spanish release shipped using the English language ROM, but bundled alongside a 150-page booklet that showed all the game's text in both English and Spanish, so players could read it as they play. But constantly looking at a translation book while playing a game in another language was cumbersome, and even led to players accidentally reading spoilers while searching for specific lines.
Oh, no.
It got such a bad reception that the Spanish marketing for Majora's Mask heavily advertised that this game included a full in-game localization. Despite giving Majora's Mask a proper localization and having a full Spanish translation of Ocarina on paper, no in-game Spanish language option was added to Ocarina of Time's subsequent Virtual Console releases. And speaking of Majora's Mask, the game shared an interesting oversight with Ocarina of Time. The Deku Stick's texture looks different between Ocarina and Majora, but this wasn't an intentional redesign. Essentially, when the Deku Stick is rendered in Ocarina, the game tries loading a 16 by 16 pixel texture, but the stick's texture is only 8 by 8 pixels small. This results in the game pulling data from the next texture in the display list, then using it as if it were part of the Deku Stick texture. In Ocarina, that next texture is Link's hair texture. The end result is a Frankenstein texture that changes depending on what data comes next in each game. Even though Majora's Mask reused much of Ocarina's assets and code, The final game ended up loading a different chunk of data after the Deku Stick texture. Blue Sky user Darkeye pointed out that in Majora, the game pulls in data left over from Ocarina of Time. Specifically, it uses data from a joint table that determines how young Link's limbs are rotated into different poses in Ocarina's pause menu. Even though this table is unused in Majora's Mask, it's still in the game data. So, the game
You're
ends
gay,
up pulling data
Rose.
for young Link posing with the Hylian shield to complete the stick texture, just like how it uses Link's hair texture in Ocarina. Darkeye even mocked up what the Deku Stick would look like if the display list correctly loaded the 8x8
It got auto-modded.
Interestingly, the fixed version is much plainer, so it all worked out in the end. And with that, let's get into that 64 Dream Miyamoto interview all about Ocarina of Time's development. In the decades since Ocarina of Time's release, fans have uncovered tons of early footage and cut content, but some of Ocarina's most curious cut content has been revealed directly by Miyamoto. Early in
Aw.
the interview, Miyamoto reveals to 64
It is
Dream
illegal to
Hyrule
call me
was
gay.
actually planned to have a sea as well as a lake. He lamented there was supposed to be a giant lake on top of the northernmost mountain and a sea at the far south. So if you looked from the opposite direction, you'd see a massive cliff. The remains of that idea became the elevated portions of Gerudo Valley.
You heard me, Rose.
During rough drafts, we had more cliffs, and I wish we could have had a lake or sea in with them. From here, Miyamoto references another scrapped location, a swamp area that was considered but left out to avoid technical complications. Yes, we tried to keep things
And I know where
technically
you
simple,
live.
creating all of the nature, so there wasn't any room for a swamp. Miyamoto's also asked if the finished Hyrule ended up as big as he'd imagined, with him saying he thought Hyrule was just the right size for the game. He goes on to say, "We rarely create anything in one go. There's usually a lot of adjustments made. And the same goes for the scale of the game, as you can imagine. Looking at Ocarina's development, it's clear a lot of thought went into the game's world, with huge areas like the Beta Kokiri Forest being crafted, then stripped down and reworked. Another area that Miyamoto and the team considered at length was Hyrule Castle Town. The game's aesthetic being roughly based on medieval Europe should be no surprise, as Miyamoto flew out to Germany a few years before Ocarina's release and took back some inspiration. This info comes from a special Ocarina of Time issue of Germany's Club Nintendo from 1998, which reveals how Miyamoto spent several weeks in northern Bavaria, among other places, doing research for Ocarina's environments. This led to Shigeru visiting
I don't know where
several hubs in
where
Lower
I live.
Caledonia,
Oh no,
which
Markin
ultimately
can't find his way
inspired him to
home.
base Hyrule Castle Town's buildings
You sort of
on
know it's not a
Germany's
definite.
half-timbered structures from the Middle Ages.
Been to yours, you ain't
If
been
you
to mine.
compare these real-life buildings to Hyrule Castle's market, the resemblance is striking. Miyamoto put a lot of thought into developing the
He
game's
still gave me the
atmosphere, and
address.
although Ocarina's world and feel were
I think.
impressive for the time, old Shigeru only saw his failings. He told 64 Dream, "Even if it's just adding in some rocks, we want a game that feels dense, but there are a lot of things that feel lacking. Like, we couldn't make the wind feel truly real. The mood of the wind was something we put a lot of work into, but we weren't able to tie it into gameplay. I didn't have enough time for it." He doesn't elaborate on what he meant by tying the wind into the gameplay, but it's interesting that this idea would be realized with the Wind Waker, and in a huge way. You can't help but wonder if this is where Wind Waker was born.
Probably.
Miyamoto's concern about the game's presentation links into another tidbit we stumbled across while researching for this video. According to 2 interviews with Famitsu in 1998, Shigeru Miyamoto cited Rare's exceptional graphical and technical work on Banjo-Kazooie as a factor for why The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time was delayed, as Miyamoto and his team felt they needed to aim for the new graphical benchmark Banjo had set. He thought a 3D action platformer of its kind running that well on N64 hardware was so amazing that we don't want to be outdone, and even joked, if Mario's a Makunoichi Bento, Banjo's a deluxe Makunoichi Bento. Upon its release, some reviews of Ocarina of Time compared its geometry, frame rate, and textures with Banjo-Kazooie's, and felt Ocarina did not perform as well in that field. One character who changed late in development was the Great Fairy. In the interview, Miyamoto says the team had been using a statue model, like an Oscar from the Academy Awards, as a placeholder. Then, one day, the statue was gone. Suddenly I noticed her in the game, laughing like, ho 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 ho, he said. I was surprised. This statue model can be seen in pre-release promotional material and is actually still in the final game's data. And as Miyamoto's comment implied, the fairy stands still with no movement at all. Miyamoto also speaks about Navi and why she ended up being so talkative. According to Shigeru, a lot of people complained that she's an idiot, but if we try to make her smarter, it just makes them focus even more on times where she was stupid in this situation. Miyamoto's own kid told him that Navi acts weird at Death
Have a good day,
Mountain,
Gray.
and to not make her any weirder.
Thanks for stopping
He
by.
then left his son a memo saying that he would tell the people in charge. Did you also know that we're giving away a Switch 2 or Steam Deck, whichever you prefer? Check out the video on screen for more information, and the other video for 6 hours of Mario facts. Special thanks.
Giving away a Steam Deck. Oh, this was posted in fucking December. Never mind.
Can we take him to the peak? Can we take the bees to the peak?
Oh.
This video is better on Nebula, both because there are no ads and because you can follow it up with an exclusive recording of a live talk I recently gave at my local library. Okay, shh, now the video's starting for real. Sometimes huge feels bigger than infinite. Let me explain. No Man's Sky is more or less infinite. A space game with 18 quintillion planets, a number that, while not technically limitless, approaches the number of planets in our actual universe, a figure so unfathomably large that it shoots right past meaninglessness. I can no more easily conceptualize 1 quintillion planets than 18, or even a billion. It is so big that words fail.
I finished the hair. I just gotta do the clothes.
A game that has stuck in my brain for years. The racing game Fuel. Developed by Asobo Studios in 2009, Fuel is a
And then I need to do the
racing game
toggles.
with mediocre
Oopsie.
handling and weird opponent AI. And yet, Fuel has a serious claim to fame. The game's map is 14,400 square kilometers,
Damn.
or 5,500 square miles. This is obscene. I have thought about Fuel for more than a decade now, simply because of this staggering number. 120 clicks long, 120 clicks wide, thousands upon thousands of tracks to race upon in the middle. That's 370 times larger than Skyrim, 200 times as large as GTA 5. It is so big that the entirety of a real-scale Mount Rainier sits on the top of the map and hardly even dominates the space. It is as big as Connecticut, or Puerto Rico. And this number still basically rounds down to 0 in comparison to something like No Man's Sky or Elite Dangerous, but it sure doesn't feel like 0 when you can pick one direction and drive for literally hours. It doesn't feel like Zero when you watch one biome gradually melt into another over the course of miles of road. You might have recognized the name Asobo Studios from another game. They went on to develop Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, a game that literally contains a 1-to-1 scale model of the Earth, one of the most staggering technical achievements I've ever seen. In hindsight, Fuel seems like a test run for this, a huge game created using a mix of procedural generation and satellite imagery that can, somehow, run on console. And while I love Flight Simulator, and have written about it at length, I think this makes Fuel the stranger cultural object. Unlike Flight Simulator, or No Man's Sky, or Elite Dangerous, you don't have access to vehicles that can cross vast distances near instantly. You have a car, a grounded, limited car to cover this landmass, and because your perspective and options are so limited, Fuel still, to me, manages to feel big in a truly radical way. In the decade after Fuel's release, two other racing games with similar missions came out, Ubisoft's The Crew and The Crew 2. Unlike Fuel, which covers an undefined portion of post-climate disaster America, The Crew makes its map explicit. It is the whole country, from east coast to west, tip to tail. Kinda. The maps of the Crew games are large, but not nearly as large as Fuel, let alone the United States. To adjust for this, the America of the Crew looks a little like one of those draw the country from memory maps. You can map the road trip of your dreams in this game, but charting a route from, for instance, LA to San Francisco will reveal that one is about 10 miles away from the other. The graphics and detail are a significant jump from Fuel, but in a way that only highlights the artifice. You can hilariously visit many landmarks in the Crew, like Mount Rushmore, which happens to be in a Denny's parking lot, or Mesa Verde, maybe, or my favorite, Niagara Falls, which has been made so modest you can drive over the top of it.
That's so
Cities
tiny.
demonstrate
The
the
fuck?
same artifice in a slightly different way. Storefronts display what appear to be the average of all possible commercial writing, like this one that boasts 50% off, buy one get second one, t-shirts 4 for $5, 15% off. Or this bookstore with a large banner that simply says store, and smaller text detailing that it is actually a second-hand and antiquarian electric, or this gift shop that upon closer inspection is actually a grocery store, or this pizza place that has, quote, all flavors. The Crew games, while easy to make fun of, are almost certainly more mechanically satisfying than Fuel. The squashing of America down to a handful of iconic cities and the roads in between is a genuinely interesting idea to explore. But I still come back to Fuel, because while its cities are even less compelling than the Crew and its driving kinda feels like butt, there's this indefinable power to just how big the game is. You can start driving through a dried up Grand Canyon and just keep going and going and going, the cliff walls stretching into the horizon. Fuel refuses to make the landscape small in order to increase density and visual diversity. Simultaneously, it doesn't push its procedural generation so far that it breaks human imagination, creating a quintillion planets consisting of the same basic tropes. It pulls a trick far more stubborn, and yet to me, far more compelling. It refuses to fake the space. If you are anything like me, you've probably Googled biggest video game maps at some point and run into your own personal conflict. What counts as big? What's a cheat? What's a technicality? One of the biggest ever video game maps is the Elder Scrolls II Daggerfall, released on MS-DOS in 1996. Daggerfall looks like this, its a world map like this, and is reportedly about the size of Great Britain. And I look at that and think, okay, sure, dude. Daggerfall has several large regions, and the landscape within those regions is entirely procedurally generated. The exceptionally patient YouTuber How Big Is the Map has a video walking across Daggerfall's landmass in real time, and the first of 15 videos in the playlist is 7.5 hours of trekking across identical gray mountains.
Jesus.
Each generated world of Minecraft has the potential to be many, many times larger than Earth, but Minecraft is, of course, randomly and procedurally generated. The fact that there's essentially no authorship in a Minecraft world or in the middle of the Daggerfall continent lessens their impact. This rationalization of what feels big and what doesn't is made up and inherently imperfect. Fuel uses plenty of procedural generation. No human decided on the elevation of 14,000 kilometers of terrain. But Fuel's proc-gen works in conjunction with satellite data, and the map is ironically small enough that it can still feel huge rather than meaningless. Essentially, what I'm saying here is I'm working more in the realm of what emotionally registers as big rather than the raw numbers. And while I've talked about map size as a whole thus far, I've actually more often found these moments, awe at the sheer size of something, hidden in more traditional levels. A single instance of bigness shattering the imposed reality of the rest of the setting. Am I speaking complete gibberish right now as I'm
It
writing
feels
this?
like gibberish.
I genuinely can't tell. Anyway, a lot of game development
This is not what I was
creating
expecting
the
it to be
illusion of a
about.
holistic space and continuous progression out of several distinct pieces. I remember being mind blown many years ago watching one of these special features on God of War 2, in which they note that if a piece of level isn't visible, it simply doesn't exist. This makes sense for titles with a fixed camera like God of War, but it's not uncommon for any style of game to take what we might consider shortcuts, building environments based on what the player will see rather than real-world architecture. As digital explorers like the YouTube channel Boundary Break often find, even seemingly straightforward environments like the office of the Stanley Parable are not as they seem. They're essentially games' version of matte paintings or false building facades, ways to communicate a grander space while still staying within the constraints of budget and memory. Because games don't have to abide by real-life physics, they can have fun with this as well. The endless staircase in Mario 64 is an iconic example. Near the top of the castle, the player finds these stairs ascending into the dark and runs up them. The music continuously works its way higher and higher, the paintings rush by, and if you're 10-year-old me, you might run up these stairs for minutes before turning around and realizing you haven't moved at all. It's a trick as simple as it is effective. Mario is being invisibly teleported backwards almost continuously, creating an illusion of infinite ascension with only a single flight. It's fun to think that even in the early days of 3D games, developers were already having fun with tricks of perspective and space. But there are counterexamples to this, a bigness that's not simply a mirage of clever programming. One of the best levels in Silent Hill 2, which by default makes it one of the best levels of all time, is the Historical Society. A museum located off the main road. The first few minutes in the Historical Society are almost normal, at least by Silent Hill standards. Photographs cover the walls of the entryway, offering a bit of background on the town, and of course your old pyramid-headed friend. It is punishingly dark, and a sort of foghorn emanates from the walls, but it's not until you walk through this hole smashed in a wall that the Historical Society tips its hand. Beyond the hole are stairs that go down and down and down. It is minutes of walking into the black. The foghorn gets more frequent. James' footfalls repeat endlessly. And then, with no celebration, you're at the bottom. In typical fashion, there's not even a big reveal at the end, just another office room. Mario's run up the stairs is accompanied by what's called a shepherd scale, a sort of musical illusion in which a series of notes can be made to climb infinitely by overlapping them an octave apart. The effect is bizarre, to say the least. Click around on a 10-minute loop of the track and every bit sounds identical, but listen to it continuously and you'll swear the notes are working their way up.
Yeah.
But the tone can descend as well. As Gareth Damian Martin notes in their seminal piece, The Basement's Basement, Silent Hill 2's descent functions in much the same way as this scale. If you listen to a descending shepherd tone for any length of time, the feeling of being slowly dragged down, almost compressed, is unmistakable. It's that downward movement, the slow decay of a sound. How far can it continue, you ask yourself? How much deeper? But the tone is steady, its slow descent both rapidly falling and yet going nowhere at all. Following the staircase, James falls further into the earth, continuously choosing to jump down pits with nothing but dark at the bottom. Silent Hill relishes in the impossibility. After falling miles into the ground, you eventually emerge on the shores of a lake. The spatial absurdity is the point, rapidly falling and yet going nowhere at all. But each pit James jumps into is accompanied by a cutscene and a loading screen, two embellishments that, while necessary, remove us just slightly from the environment. In those jumps, a reminder of Silent Hill's gaminess returns, that the environment is constantly being built around us instead of existing all at once. The staircase is different. There is no load, no movie to separate us from it, and as you might have guessed from this video's topic, the stair doesn't fake it. It's all there, every step rendered in real geometry at the same time. I worked with streamer Brosentia to capture this footage, and his other out-of-bounds footage is more what
Rivals
you'd
the clock.
expect.
Have
Half-built
fun.
architecture, streets that end in nothing, 2D planes to portray distance. But the staircase is just there.
Oh.
This thing is ridiculous, he told me. Nothing else is at all.
The goon haunts you.
And I can't get this staircase out of my head. Perhaps because the out-of-bounds footage is just as nightmarish.
I
as
hope
the
they did
in-game
justice for the
perspective.
Dinoblade
There is
final
no
figure, because the
illusion, no
YouTube's
shepherd scale.
figures are kind of
James, in this moment,
not
is
not my
walking into
favorite.
the bowels of the earth in as real a way as the game allows. Several iconic game moments center around nothing more than this sort of transitory environment, the liminal space, if you will, of an exceptionally long journey up or down a single object. The ladder after the end in Metal Gear Solid 3, the ladder back to Yosefka's clinic in Bloodborne, the climb up the stairs of the Shinra building in Final Fantasy VII, the elevator down into the Siofra River well in Elden Ring. Some of these are all there, as with Silent Hill 2. Some are pieced together from multiple different chunks. All are cool and memorable sequences. But when I think about enormous transitory spaces, there's only one that matches the energy of Silent Hill. Years ago, I talked about the indie game Naissance, an impersonal and unsettling trek through an endless, brutalist nowherescape. My first encounter with the game was in the magazine Heterotopias, fittingly also penned by Gareth Damian Martin. The game's developer said in that magazine that there are no invisible walls in Naissance, and thus, no security. This speaks to how I first experienced the game. It is a challenging, frustrating experience. But on a recent revisit, I took this no invisible walls statement as more of a challenge. Enabling flying in the console commands certainly breaks the game progression, but it doesn't break the world nearly as much as you might think. It just keeps going. This mechanical chasm in the architecture is modeled well above and below what the player is ever able to normally see. In this endless row of identical blocks, you can fly for what feels like miles. This dark, electrical canyon has details a player would never find. But like Silent Hill 2, it's the big staircase that takes the cake. Towards the end of the game, you emerge from a dense ventilation network and are met with these white stairs, going up instead of down. But
Not the biggest fan of their
shrouded in
faces
dark.
they use for them.
So you start going up, and keep going up, or at least that's what you assume, because it's so punishingly dark that you can barely see the step in front of you, and you do this for minutes on end, even longer than the Historical Society. So long it seems they may truly... Like Silent Hill, space After the endless
The fact
ascension,
that
you
played at the
emerge not on
same
top
time
of the
was very
mechanical expanse,
disorienting.
but somehow at the bottom of a desert, your forever climb landing you in a place that feels lower than you started.
What the fuck?
The stairs are nonsense. They're impossible, and yet they are also all really there. Enabling a wireframe outline allows us to see through the dark, but even it can't display the true scale because the stairs simply fade from view. Like Silent Hill 2's Descent, there's nothing lost by going out of bounds here. In fact, the construction is even more impressive, and even more preposterous. I've found this kind of thing more frequently in indie titles. The more big and expensive a game, the more often it needs to be absolutely optimized so it can squeeze every drop of hardware power into its intended visuals. In God of War 2, by making everything you can't see non-existent, everything you can see could receive that little extra oomph. But smaller, independent titles, either because they're not as graphically taxing or because they're not subject to the same terms of optimization, have space for all this extra stuff. Sometimes it feels like they're nothing but extra stuff. Sometimes that's the point. The game Babdi, released for free last year on Steam and itch.io, is a game about the extra stuff. The objectives of Babdi are as straightforward as they could be. Get a ticket for the train, tickets are sold out, so get one from your neighbor, leave on the train. The appeal is instead the setting, this
I think you
cold
guys
concrete
did.
city block that is so much larger and more vertical than the stated goals of the game require. Babdi, the name of the city as well as the game, is a brutalist playground, a place where every balcony can be clambered over, and if you wander the underground enough, you might find people having a trash-fire jukebox dance party. Or you might not. One of the strangely appealing things about Babdi is that as often as there's something to find, your curiosity can also take you into places that end without fanfare. The massive reservoir the city sits on is completely open, and although its corners hold no secrets, there's nothing to keep you out of it either. Eventually I found a pickaxe that allowed me to scale any wall, and my reward was just that, the intrinsic pleasure of finding that yes, every building has a roof, yes, with enough work, I can stand upon the tallest spire. Because Babdi so effectively communicates that every piece of it is real, every piece is there, I never even paused to wonder if the game would—
What the dog doing?
Exploration. Like its entire rundown
dog is
vibe,
working
the
on
environment
secret
of
art.
the game feels more or less lawless, that there will be no artificial impediment to wherever you want to go. It's not massive in the way many game cityscapes
The dog
are
is
massive.
rigging.
It's 1%
Really.
of a GTA map. But Babdi feels big because its utilitarian art style
It's a commission I
implies
can't
that
show on
every
stream,
building is truly
so-
there. Nothing is a hollow facade, nothing fancifully painted with the false textures of civilization. Maybe the best way I can put it is the objectives of the game aren't indicated by the design of the environment itself. The city doesn't seem built for the player to have an adventure in. It was built, existed, and then some time later, the player stumbled in. The language I've been using in this video is inherently flawed. I know that. The verbiage of real or fake, illusion or genuine, trick or legitimate isn't suited to video games. A computer is making me think there's a world inside of this flat screen. The whole thing is an unbelievably complicated illusion, a magic trick so impressive we don't even think about it. There is no staircase, there is no Babdi, there is no 14,000 square kilometers of post-apocalyptic wilderness. For the purposes of this video, I've made my scales of realness completely relative. The Historical Society's stairs are real only when compared to Mario 64. It goes back to what I said at the beginning. This is about what feels real, what emotionally registers as big. And in using this language so loosely, I think I've completely shot myself in the foot for the last game I want to talk about. Because the thing about Anor Londo, the shining city atop the world of Dark Souls, is it's all an illusion. in lore, in the game's reality, what we are looking at is fake. The dazzling sunlight vanishes when questioned, the castle's polished halls fall into shadows, and it goes further, because under that illusion is another, kept in a crypt far beneath the throne room. A massive statue blocks the way, only to fade with the sun or in the presence of a special ring. When it disappears, it reveals, what else? A staircase down. But the stairs aren't the notable part here. Beyond the door at the bottom lies Dark Sun Gwendolyn, one of my favorite Souls bosses purely for visual splendor. It is a fight based on illusion. Gwendolyn curses you for entering, and then throws the back of the hallway into the infinite, the statues on the wall repeating endlessly as they vanish into the horizon. The fight is one of the rare instances where Dark Souls transcends into the environmentally surreal, and accordingly, one of its most conceptual battles. Gwendolyn only has a few attacks, and no real close-range ability. Instead, every time you get close, the boss teleports away, giving you time to only get in a few strikes before running again down the endless hallway. After Gwendolyn falls, the hall returns to normal. The end and its ensuing rewards are revealed to be just a few dozen yards away. On first blush, I assumed this hall was more or less like the Mario stairway. After all, that's what the imagery basically implies. You're trapped in an endless illusion, run all you want and you'll never escape. But that's not true.
Markin
Going out of
recommended
bounds
it.
during the cutscene reveals the normal hallway swapped for this. It's a combination of clever framing and brute force of scale. The original hall is replaced with a Wile E. Coyote-style false ending, which is then shot down the new mile of architecture the game just spawned in. And this isn't just for looks. You can, if you are both stubborn and focused enough, take the boss fight all the way to the end of this passage. You can chase Gwendolyn until both of you are backed up against this brick wall all the way at the end, at which point the boss AI basically breaks. There is a canon ending to this fight, in which you push Gwendolyn's endless hallway until it falls apart, and then you just stand, swinging limply at each other, incredibly far from where you started. This is what's so fascinating about games, and so challenging about this language of real versus fake I've tried to build around it. Because we know it's an illusion. In the game, it's supposed to be a trick, and yet look at it. There it is, hundreds upon hundreds of statues in perfectly ordered rows, as or more real as anything else in the game. Gwendolyn faked the space. Dark Souls did not. The other day, I booted up Fuel. I told my computer to open all the countless miles of road from 2009, and I just started driving. It is an inherently silly thing to do, burn fake gasoline on the bluffs of a fake desert without so much as a fake objective to give me direction. But as false night passed into false day, passed into false night again, I thought about movie scenes with the special effect of hundreds or thousands of real actors, the illusion of an entire world built temporarily for a single scene, the trick of genuine acrobatics, falls, explosions, captured once to be replayed again and again. As I drove through the artificial walls of a canyon constructed out of digital triangles from actual satellite data, I reflected on our ability to understand something as false and true at the same time, an artistic representation that tirelessly reproduces the space it simultaneously abstracts. There is no aesthetic failing in illusion. The success or failure of a project rests on its emotional communication, no matter the strategies used to achieve it. But still, knowing that when I walk down those stairs in Silent Hill 2, every step really exists before me, sends a wonderful little chill down my spine. Knowing that there are no hollow buildings in Babdi makes the whole tiny city more enthralling. Every game fakes its space in one way or another. But I will always love stepping outside the bounds and marveling at how the trick might be that there's simply no trick at all. Okay, this wasn't an intentional connection for this essay, but I recently gave a talk in a real space for the very first time.
Even if this talk is bad, please do not unsubscribe, because
last month I was lucky enough to speak to a couple hundred people at the Durham Public Library in a talk I loosely titled A Beginner's Guide to Game Analysis. Am I bragging a little? Sure, but I am also excited to tell you that the full recorded talk is now available on Nebula, both the scripted part of it and the 40+ minutes of Q&A afterwards, featuring super thoughtful and interesting questions from the audience. Nebula sponsored this video, and Nebula has allowed me to do so much cool bonus content this year, from cooking videos to whole additional essays to now hosting my recording of this live talk. It's a healthier, more sustainable streaming ecosystem that I'm proud to be a part of. It's also, here's the thing you might not know, cheap. Follow my link in the description to get a solid 8 hours of exclusive content from me and countless hours of other creators, exclusive series, movies, classes, and more for just over $2 a month. Doing a talk at a local library was a very specific dream of mine, but the fact that it was, local, left a lot of people out. Now you too can see me walk through how I'd come up with an essay about Elden Ring, make jokes about Animorphs, and answer all sorts of great questions from an audience that you can't see them in the video, but they are actually there, I promise. I wasn't just giving a talk in an empty room. You're gonna have to trust me on this one. Anyway,
Elden Ring video. Maybe I should play Elden Ring again sometime. But for now, I am gonna go ahead and end off the stream here. We'll do another reaction stream another time. Maybe Elden Ring will be the next game that I actually play and try to complete again. It's been a long time since I played. I should actually try it to play it for realsies this time. Perhaps I'll start that next week. How about that? What if I do like Elden Ring Mondays or something? I don't think it's a game that I'd be able to play continuously. Like, it's a good game, but I might do it where it's just like a weekly thing, so it doesn't take up a lot of my other time for streams, other stream stuff, so. But yeah. Thanks to everybody who stopped by. I hope you all have a good night, good day, whatever have you, and I shall see you guys Monday. Maybe Saturday if me and my friends want to stream, but other than that, I will see you guys Monday. Have a good day, guys. Bye.